Welcome to the Bold Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I have been very consistent in this podcast that it was not a matter of choice for William Ruto to mediate the South Sudan war. And the Sudan, not South Sudan, I think I want to get it right, the Sudan war. It was not a choice. In fact, the only option that the President of the Republic of Kenya had was to excuse himself from that, because from the word go, we are already conflicted. Now, the news coming in now is that Sudan has kickstarted a process of replacing Ruto as the lead mediator. According to information is this: Sudan on Monday initiated the process of replacing President William Ruto with South Sudanese President Salva Kiir as the lead mediator in the war-torn country. The process took a huge leap after Sudan's Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan arrived in South Sudan on Monday for talks with its leaders. Upon landing in Juba, South Sudan General Fattah delegation made it explicitly clear that his action would remain steadfast in rejecting Kenyan's chairmanship of Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD Quartet Group. Sudan's acting Foreign Affairs Minister Al-Hilal Sadiq explained to reporters today on Monday that they believe South Sudan was better suited to mediate the Sudanese conflict. Let me give you a bit of a background. I know someone might be listening to this for the first time. If you did not follow, did not maybe watch the first video I did. Initially, the IGAD had settled on Salva Kiir to be the lead mediator. Then remember, there was a summit that was, there was an IGAD summit that was held, I think, in Eritrea. And in that summit, the IGAD then settled on William Ruto to be the lead mediator, supported by the Ethiopian counterparts, the Ethiopia PM. So immediately Ruto flew back in the country. There was a total chaos, there was a total crisis in Sudan, because the other side believed that Ruto was already conflicted. And they said they cannot engage in any talks with William Ruto, in any talks, in any mediation talks, that is going to be spearheaded by William Ruto. Now, I want to be a little bit very objective here. We started on a wrong foot. There are some two tweets. Ndindi Nyoro and Moses Kuria, all of them did some tweets, I think that was in July. And they took side blaming a specific side on that Sudanese war. You know, there is the paramilitary and there is the military. So they blamed the paramilitary because they believe that paramilitary is fighting the Sudan army. And they took a position. Then, the following month, President Ruto is now taking charge of those mediations. Even if you are, by all fairness, these soldiers were not going to accept William Ruto to mediate on this. Now, that is what has been laid bare. But you know, this is a development that borders our international cloud, especially for William Ruto. You cannot face such a rejection. And there seems to be William Ruto's Pan-Africanism pitch is dwindling. I told you, the reason why we are doing counter regime is because we are repackaging, or rather we are rebranding. Or rather not we, but William Ruto is rebranding. So in most of his speeches, he has been seen as a man who is wishing the best for Africa. Remember, he volunteered that I can mediate on Niger war, something that was totally out. ECOWAS tried, they did not manage, and really castigated the soldiers. When talking about this Sudan war in South Africa, he said he actually profiled the Sudanese conflict. So this is something that has been going on. There is that which I want us to see very clear. And it points out this. The series of rejection and diplomatic flaws then shows that William Ruto's African pitch is dwindling. It's going down. And if by any chance William Ruto wanted to seek a position in the African Union or the leadership of the continent, then this is going to be a big blow. Now, I want to explain for you 3 reasons why William Ruto's African clout is going down. And let me give you another sign that is going down. As we speak today, there is a African climate summit going on in Kenya. 3 presidents cancelled their attendance. Ramaphosa, South Africa, and remember South Africa, a very key player. DRC, Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, and then Egyptian. But I've realized the Egyptian president sent delegations. I've just seen that tweet. Then, Pakistan PM was supposed to fly in this country, and that trip was cancelled last minute. I even understand the PM's advance team were already in JKA, but the trip had to be cancelled. What's happening here? There seems to be something going down. William Ruto has been projecting himself as the African-born Messiah, but that is failing. And that is why I'm saying the series of rejection points out to that. So what exactly is bringing that? I want to tell you the 3 mistakes that Ruto is making, why he's going through that. Number 1, William Ruto is, I think, there is over-dependence on the West. I'm using the word over-dependence very intentional because as currently we speak, there was a summit, Russia-African summit. Himself, he did not attend that summit, and it has been confirmed Kenya did not send a delegation. The African Union chairperson, Mohamed Faki, was in Russia. And of course, it was later, another newsletter from Russia will later say that some of the African leaders who did not go there, who did not go to Russia, did not go because they were influenced by the US. Now, even the current summit going on here, there were withdrawals by over 500 civil society organizations in Africa who raised questions that the convener of the summit, who is President William Ruto, is colluding with the US to set the agenda of that summit. Remember, I want to tell you this, that your friend must not be my friend, and your enemy must not be your enemy. It's a very simple policy why William Ruto's African clout is breaking. He's taking his friends. America is his friend because of election lifting in the last presidential election. But that does not mean that America has to be friends to others. And this is why he's losing quite a lot. It's a very big, costly mistake. Now, that is one of the reasons why that is going down. Number 2 is, I think the pitch has been non-strategic on the messaging. On this is what I mean. Even if you want something, I want to believe that if there is any elective post in even African Union, there are many contenders. Yeah, there are many contenders. You're not the only one. I think he has projected himself, he has overexposed himself to different enemies in the continent. Overexposition in this manner. Look at Niger. How would we come and start condemning? Of course, you can condemn the coup as a country. But how would you say that you start condemning those who planned the coup, and you even say that if the Niger president is not reinstated, then Niger will be removed from African Union. So he's been picking wrong battles. So he's going down because he seems to be creating many enemies. All the presidents, the new young presidents from the Sahel region, the Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, did not attend the summit. I think even Gabon. They did not attend the summit. They were not part of the summit, simply because William Ruto has overexposed himself. There was no need of going to Zimbabwe and saying, even if you castigate the coup, you can castigate the coup at your personal capacity or as a country, but saying that if you don't, if you don't do this, then you will be removed from African Union. It's a big blunder we have committed as a country. And that is why you see, even like South Sudan, there is a perception that he's forcing himself into this. But it's because of legitimacy. Number 3, home. How would you get clout at the continental stage if domestic conflicts cannot be handled? What am I saying? We are in a global world where everything happening in every country, people know. In this country, I think Ruto has failed to hold grip and manage legitimacy questions. Kenya underwent a transition just last year. And that transition was already, there was a smear campaign. Let me not use the word smear campaign. That transition was associated with foreign infiltration on elections. And the opposition has told the world that foreigners imposed William Ruto on the Kenyan voters. That's what the opposition has said. And let us not bury our hearts in the sand that what opposition is saying, others do not hear. So already he has legitimacy issues locally with questions. There have been very controversial, questions on open the server. As we talk now, there is talks going on opening the server. So the legitimacy questions on his election is already hanging. But on that end, he seems to be pursuing his further. And so people think, look, wait, you want us to give you want to come and mediate in South Sudan. But don't you think even home, you are a product of some heavy lifting? And that is why I do believe that I've always been insisting that what the President Ruto needed to do is to retreat and work from State House. You cannot sort out the question of legitimacy now until you get the next general election. If formations get your way and you get back to the election, it's totally a different terrain. But on this one, we are making these 3 costly mistakes is why William Ruto's clout in the continent is going down. I am following closely on attendance of the African Global Summit. I've just been wondering, we were expecting 24. The continent has over 55 countries. What is the criterion of 24? And another observation I want you to make, this is a homework. Amongst the 20 presidents that are coming in the country, how many are coming from East Africa? Sebo is not in town, Museveni. Suluhu is not in town. I've not seen the Ethiopian PM. So that already tells you that Ruto is a bit patched. Thank you. Let's meet in the next.